Serena Williams once said that every woman's success should be an inspiration to another. I can't think of a better way to kick off this evening than with that thought. Today is International Women's Day, a global day to recognize the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. And here at Pittsburgh Professional Women, we have a lot to celebrate. I am Beth Lynch, Senior Vice President of Fort Pitt Capital Group, located in Greentree. I've been in this business for more than 26 years and at Fort Pitt for a little over 3 years. I chose this company because it's a mid-sized firm that offers a large firm's breadth and depth, but with a nice boutique feeling. It is important to me to work with a company that has the client's best interests in mind. Whether you have to plan for retirement, if you want to start investing, or you're selling a business or have some inherited wealth, our team can give you individual, client, and well-constructed plans made for you. As part of my role with Fort Pitt Capital, I get to attend and host events like these, and I'm very pleased to be with you this evening. Allow me to introduce the woman, who has created this celebration. Beth Caldwell has been planning educational and inspirational events for women since she was a Girl Scout. And it's no surprise that she's the driving force behind the first virtual award event in Pittsburgh in honor of International Women's Day. Most of you know her as the founder of Pittsburgh Professional Women from her always trending blog on Thrive Global, or from her popular video series, Monday Morning Mastermind, which I absolutely love. Beth spent 4 years on the road working alongside Steve Harvey in his Success Institute for Entrepreneurs. And 1 year ago today, we celebrated the release of her 10th book, Women Lead. Please welcome Beth Caldwell.
Thank you so much, Beth Lynch, and thank you, everybody. We should have little signs to shake.
As I had hair in my mouth, I didn't even realize. Sorry about that.
You look absolutely fabulous. It's so good to see every one of you. If you want to get the best experience tonight, put your camera on speaker view, and that way you'll be able to see the person who's speaking. Otherwise, you can put it on what's the other view? Then you can see everybody. I like to do the gallery. The gallery is nice because you get to see everybody. And Liz, if you haven't started, will you start the recording? So thank you, Beth, for helping to host this celebration. This is my 5th annual fundraiser International Women's Day celebration. I put it on my calendar every year in December that says, what are we going to do this year for International Women's Day? Because the first couple of years that it was out, I thought, oh, I should do something, and then I didn't. And then 6 years ago, I put it on my calendar. And of course, last year, we already had something very big planned, a big leadership conference at Carlow University. And this year it came up on the calendar, and I just hit delete after all the other things that I had deleted. And then in January, I couldn't let the year go by. So I appreciate all of you for showing up here with me. I decided to do this on January 15th. And it was pretty ambitious to rein in 30 women. You guys did a great job too of getting all your stuff to me. So, as Beth said, today is the day to recognize the achievements of women socially, economically, politically, and culturally. And we are doing that here. But before we get started, I do want to take a group moment, even though we're not in person, it's still very powerful to pause as a group and reflect on some gratitude, not only for the fact that we can meet during a pandemic through technology, that we can continue to that we all have the health and the wealth and the ability, the technology that we're privileged to have to continue to make these accomplishments. And this day is celebrated worldwide in many countries, but in a lot of countries, it's a day that is ignored. And in some countries, it's a day of protests where they don't want women to have any power. And it's a little bit difficult to imagine that some women today, sometimes we can think about our grandmothers and our aunts and our great-grandmothers, that they didn't have what we have. But today in the world, there are many women that don't have the rights that we have. So let's just pause for 10 seconds and think about our good fortune, what we can do today that women in other countries cannot, what we can do today that our mothers and grandmothers and aunts and all those women who came before us were not permitted to do. And also for the losses that each and every one of us have been touched with for the past year. So let's just pause and have 10 seconds of collective gratitude. It's always so good to start with that kind of grounding. And I noticed in the questionnaires that a lot of the women leaders who won filled out questionnaires for me to help to tell you about them. Many of them talked about meditation and gratitude. I would say 95% of the women talked about gratitude as a key to their success. And I would have to say that just that pause and being grateful every day for 10 seconds can really make a difference in your world. It is my pleasure to introduce our media representative for this evening. I'm really happy to introduce you to Natalie Bensavenga. Natalie, say hello so you pop up on our screen as a speaker.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, there she is.
Perfectly.
Looking, what did you say?
You pronounced my name perfectly.
I practiced that. No, I didn't practice that. I was so worried, but I'm so glad. I'm so glad I asked you that. You know, you look stunning.
I went with the color of the evening, just like
the color of the evening, and it matches your room so well.
That was unintentional, but I'll take it.
That's just goodness. Let me tell you about Natalie if you don't know her. She's an Emmy-nominated, socially conscious journalist. She's a media personality. She's an entrepreneur. Natalie uses her platforms to bring attention to issues that build equity in our communities. And that gives me the chills because I just knew I wanted to have you here tonight. I didn't even realize how absolutely perfectly complimentary that you are to that. So if you're in Pittsburgh, you see her regularly on the KDKA morning show, Pittsburgh Today Live. You hear her on KDKA radio often. She has written regular columns for the Huffington Post, for Cosmo Girl, SheKnows.com, and many others. And currently, Natalie writes for Pittsburgh Earth Day, Table Magazine, and she has a wildly popular column called Ask Natalie. It's an advice column for Universal Press Syndicate, the UP, the Universal Press Syndicate. That's the same syndicate that publishes Dear Abby and Miss Manners. And Natalie's a column, I've been checking on it quite regularly, and I have to say I really do like some of that advice you gave last week. I shared it on Facebook. Her column debuted at #3 on that site, so I highly recommend you check it out. Natalie, you are the ideal woman to host tonight. Thank you for being here.
Oh, I so appreciate all of that. That was very kind of you. Thank you. I'm so honored and flattered to be a part of such an important evening as we celebrate International Women's Day. And the work that I do, I have a background in social work, so I've always tried to ground my work. Before, I used to work at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette as well as the scene editor there for almost 7 years, and just trying to always center those that need visibility and uplifting the most. And so to kick things off, I definitely wanted to share a couple of my favorite quotes now that we're celebrating International Women's Day. And one of them is, and I think this will appeal to everyone here as you are all incredible women breaking barriers, you have to act as if it were possible to radically transform the world, and you have to do it all the time. That's one of my sheroes, Angela Davis. And the other quote that I think fits really well with what you were speaking about earlier, to privileges and the ability to be in a space like this, is I am not free while any woman is unfree, even when her shackles are very different from my own. Audre Lorde, she is a poet and activist as well, and one of my sheroes. And I follow those words closely, and that is what centers my work. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be a part of such a transformative and special evening. And I recognized a lot of the women on the list, and I was like, of course they're on this list because they're amazing. So thank you for having me.
Well, good. Well, let's talk about some of those women.
Yes, and I'm excited to start kicking things off here.
There we go. Uh-oh, we don't want to play that music. Let me see if I can shut that music off. Here we go. How's that?
That's perfect. Although,
boy, am I getting savvy at this. Although that was good music for the beginning.
I know, I was kind of getting into it, but that's okay. I understand.
Right. Let's look at these winners.
All right. So Congratulations to Amy Lynn Walsh. She is a hypnotherapist, a rapid transformational therapist, and a mindset coach. She has only opened her new office about 6 months prior to the pandemic, and things were going great, of course, before the shutdown, but I'm sure being a woman of means, she effortlessly shifted to online offerings, got really savvy, that's the key word, at virtual sessions, taught a lot, I like that in all capitals too, a lot of online workshops, increased her business significantly. And she also just happened to give birth to her first child in the mix of all of that. Her son, Dax, women really can do it all. We really are amazing. And he arrived, what better day, the 4th of July. Her favorite podcast is Mind Valley. I'll have to check that one out. And her favorite book is The Emotion Code. Please congratulate Amy Walsh in the chat.
Yay, Amy. Everybody can write congratulations. Well done, Amy. So happy to have you as a part of this list.
Great. During a typical spring summer, Anita Buzzy Prentiss is an in-demand photographer for celebrity status weddings, professional athletes, and dancers. She's never taken my photo, don't worry. Anita was so inspiring last spring when all weddings and special events were canceled abruptly. This professional photographer didn't wallow in the pity. She got creative and kept many of us entertained with the photos she took all summer long. During the COVID-19 pandemic quarantine, Anita Buzzy Prentiss photographed almost 200 portraits, pictures of people on or near their porches all around Pittsburgh. She felt like this was one of her missions to spread love, gratitude, joy, and hope. Later, Anita's work was published in a book called Portraits, Pittsburghers on Their Porches During Quarantine, the book, which you can find on her website, buzzyphoto.com. Congratulations to Anita Buzzy Prentiss.
Congratulations, Anita. I can't see the chat because I'm sharing my screen, but I hope you guys are all typing congratulations in there. Our next award winner is somebody super special to me, although I have never met her. Arlen Elizabeth Hass. I think I have met you, Arlen, in your bookstore, but not since this year. Arlen is the owner of City Books, which is Pittsburgh's oldest existing bookstore, which was founded in 1984. She is the host of Shelf Life, which is a book show podcast or broadcast on PCTV 21, the cable Pittsburgh Community Television. And she directs the City Books Writer in Residence program for emerging and marginalized writers. So Arlen was a true influence in the pandemic preparedness. She was the first person that I knew of that created a pandemic policy. And that was in March. And I get Arlen's email newsletters because I'm a book lover and I buy a lot of books. And so I start getting these email newsletters that say, hey, just wanted to let you know, there's some talk of a possible shutdown. This was in March. And there's talk of this being a global pandemic. And here are our plans. And I don't remember them specifically, but I remember I read them from top to bottom and shared them with a lot of my clients as a great example for leadership, because this was at a time when almost everyone did not know what they were doing. And I remember Arlen sent out an email newsletter that said, here are the stages of how we're going to do it. And there's something called curbside pickup. I feel like my grandmother now. I'm like, curbside pickup? What an amazing idea for a bookstore, right? And this is how we're going to do it. And this is how we're sanitizing our store. And she went on and on and on. And it was, you know, Arlen, when people don't know what to do, somebody having that kind of vision and that kind of organization and that kind of planning is so helpful. You know, it was unfortunate and fortunate timing, of course, as this has been. Her bookstore had just received certification as a silver designated shop by Sustainable Pittsburgh, and just in January of 2020. But soon after that, she really switched to online sales and actually did an online women-owned business gift shop, which I think many of us visited. And this really enhanced revenue. They did care packages on Etsy. She launched a virtual storefront and just was an all-around great example of leadership. So thank you. Arlen's favorite podcast is Tim Reed's Small Business, Big Marketing podcast. And that is definitely on my list to check out. He's out of Australia. And I think that you have great ideas and I want to listen to what you listen to. So a big congratulations to Arlen Hess.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right. Cindy Rack is a realtor with Keller Williams. She is a landlord and she rehabs homes with her husband, Barry. Cindy treats every client as though they are part of her large and loving Italian family. Oh, I like her already. And makes sure that everyone is hugging at each of her closings. Well, wearing masks, pre-COVID, that sort of thing. But during the pandemic in 2020, Cindy broke her career sales record, surpassing $8.3 million. That is seriously impressive during this pandemic to do anything remotely close to that. She handled more than 30 real estate transactions while homeschooling her granddaughter and sharing caregiving duties and eventually dealing with the loss of her mother, Grace. I am so sorry, who passed in May of 2020. Her large and loving family keep her motivated, and her favorite book is The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Cindy, what a woman. Congratulations.
Congratulations. And our next awardee is Coach Monique DeMonico. I met Coach Monique years ago. I don't even know if she remembers me, but what a wonderful individual. She is a multi-certified, international trained change management expert who specializes in innovative tools and cutting-edge strategies to help her clients unlock bold change. She is the author of a very popular book, Most People Don't Need a Therapist, They Just Need a Change. During the pandemic, Coach Monique immediately began to create digital programs to help others deal with depression, anxiety, stress, confidence, and relationship issues. She launched Mindful Monday online and created a desperately needed new online anxiety solution program that was received by more than 100,000 virtual audience members across the country. Monique writes in her 5-minute gratitude journal every day, and her favorite book is Daily Notes from the Universe by Mike Dooley.
Also one of my favorite books, Monique. Congratulations.
It was a great time to do that too. Everyone was battling with anxiety.
Thank you so much.
Yes. There's one, so I sprinkled in some of my favorite quotes in here. This one, I'll tell you, this one got me back at a time when I did not have enough money in my checking account. One of my friends gave me a card that had this in it. I put a frame around it and was determined to never have that problem again. So I would like to warmly congratulate Gloria Manchester. Gloria is an ICF accredited coach who believes that as we influence more women to create a thriving life story for themselves, we will have a greater impact in the world. Gloria is the co-founder and president of CART, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and she produces life and leadership courses for high-risk teenage girls who've been sexually exploited. Her work before this year already impacted many thousands. But in the summer of 2020, Gloria launched the Leap to Prosperity coaching community for women, which is online now and still continuing to take members. So be sure you connect with Gloria. She started out with a free 5-day virtual summit, and it was attended by women across several continents. I remember I was a speaker for that, and I gave a talk really late at night because she's in California. And the next morning I had a thank you letter from a woman in Italy. And that was my first thank you that I've ever gotten from Italy, Gloria, so thank you. Gloria personally recruited more than 20 coaches from 4 countries, and we all offered workshops that continue to be viewed today. And she has really started a movement there. And what a really important and impressive thing to do. Gloria is in Sacramento, California. Certainly, if we weren't in a pandemic, many women would have paid $800, $1,200 for a ticket and flown to Sacramento to go to that conference. And we did it virtually from around the world, and it was really amazing. Gloria begins every day with gratitude and prayer. Sometimes she prays for herself, but mostly she prays for the needs of other people in the morning, and that really helps her to stay grateful and focused during the day. Congratulations, Gloria. And thank you.
Thank you. I love you.
This is just so amazing. I'm just so inspired, like one after another, of all these incredible women doing wonderful service for others. It's so awesome. And here we are with another wonderful woman. Heidi Sadecki is an executive leadership coach and the director of the only Townsend Leadership Group in the Northeast. Once each month, high-level leaders leave their offices to attend Heidi's full-day in-person workshops, which are held retreat style in a quiet country setting. Her business, like many others last spring, came to a full stop. And with no clear open for business day in sight, it would have been understandable for Heidi to do nothing and just wait. But of course, Heidi did not wait, right? Instead, she launched 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 new leadership groups, which are still meeting virtually. She has also exceeded over 1,000 hours of coaching, launched her first ever international virtual group, and earned the prestigious professional coach certification with the International Coach Federation. When she needs help, Heidi relies on her life team of trusted friends. I'm guessing Heidi didn't do a lot of Netflix and chill during this pandemic, but that's all right. I did enough for both of us. That's amazing, Heidi. Congratulations.
Very proud of you, Heidi.
Congratulations. Natalie, I'm with you. I did a lot of Netflix.
Yeah, okay. I don't think I'll let him back.
Up next, during her first year as the president of Allegheny College, Dr. Hilary Link established an on-campus Allegheny College Health Agency to fill the gap in clinical and public health service in Crawford County. She was able to see Allegheny College over the goal to become the first college or university in Pennsylvania to receive the Carbon Neutral Campus Award from Second Nature and one of the first 10 higher education institutions in the U.S. to achieve carbon neutrality. Congrats. In the fall semester, Allegheny College held the COVID-19 infection rate to less than 1% at any given time, with an average of less than 0.5% of the campus's population testing positive most days. This is a result of swiftly implementing protocols for testing, face coverings, and physical isolation in the first month of welcoming students back to campus. Dr. Link then developed a new academic schedule, introducing fresh, multidisciplinary learning and teaching opportunities, while at the same time reducing risks to the extent possible during the peak of cold and flu season, which we all know is just finished up, right? November through February. Definitely a challenge for any year, but all of this as a brand new president. Well done, Dr. Link.
Congrats.
Wow.
I think that's pretty impressive to get those designations in Meadville, Pennsylvania, a pretty big mining town. And ambitious and exceptional.
Thank you.
So I am going to talk to you a little bit tonight about Hilary Klein-Renzi. She is the owner of Higher Voice Studios, which is located in charming downtown Carnegie. It's such a beautiful space. They offer voice, piano, and guitar lessons, and really has become the most sought after music school for voice, especially in the regional Pittsburgh area. When the shelter in place orders were made in Pennsylvania in March, Hilary and her team just whipped into action. A lot of not all of their students, but a big chunk of their students are in high school and college, and all of their spring musicals were canceled. So imagine how we felt with everything that we had being canceled. Then imagine that you're a teenager, and then add to it that you're a moody, artistic teenager. So Hilary just whipped into shape. And what they did was they began to offer virtual lessons, which had not happened before. And then they did in the summer open their doors and gave in-person lessons before any other musical school in the area. Because of their location and the way their building is, they were able to stay their 6 feet, do their singing, maintain the protocols, and still make music. A really tough time for a lot of her students last year, especially those who were junior, senior in high school, canceled competitions, canceled music lessons, and schools that were shut down completely. And Hilary did not. She knew that it was possible to make music and do it safely. So with a lot of traumatized students, she responded by offering free virtual music classes each week. And these gatherings, virtual gatherings, helped us keep the students stay focused and connected and engaged. It kept them in a safe place. It kept them inspired and positive. While a lot of music schools skipped their spring and summer competitions, Hilary's students did not. They competed by video. And that was something that had not been done before. It was very much harder than usual, but they all learned new skills. And I remember Hilary saying, these are life skills, learning how to upload a video on YouTube. And these things that we were doing. And this hard work paid off. The school actually had 11 students placed regionally in the top 3 positions. And, as the business coach, I love to see this. She has more students than she did in January of 2020. Hilary is a very dedicated teacher, dedicated worker. Her favorite podcast is Kellie Corrigan Wonders. So we all have to check that out. Hilary, type that into the chat if you could. Kellie Corrigan Wonders. If you are thinking about learning to play piano or learning to sing, I highly recommend that you check out Hilary. Her favorite quote is "Dare to suck," because aren't we all afraid to use our voices? And she really, really encourages people to use their voices. So I encourage you to get to know Hilary. Big congratulations, my friend.
I loved that. That whole dare to suck. I think there's a bunch of, I'm going to guess, a lot of type A women in this room that we're possible some perfectionists here. I don't know. That idea of just taking chances, and even if you don't know if you're going to succeed or not, is probably what has landed so many amazing women here in the successful places they are. So I thought that was really powerful. Dare to suck. I'm going to remember that one.
That'll be your next hero quote. Yep.
It'll be my next hero quote. Awesome, Hilary. Thank you.
Thank you.
And next up, we have Janette Schafer. She is a vice president, branch manager, and certified women's business advocate. Awesome, for Chase Bank. Originally planned for a 2021 opening, the Squirrel Hill branch located on Forbes Avenue opened earlier than expected on December 1st of 2020. Chase Bank is well known as a tech trendsetter in banking, and Janette is pleased to bring ultra-modern banking and community bank-like customer service to her neighbors in the East End. The team of managers at Chase have opened 11 branches in Western Pennsylvania in the midst of a pandemic. That's incredible. So far, bringing more than 120 new jobs to the region. 5 more branch locations are expected by the end of 2022. A certified women's business advocate, Janette oversaw the opening of the Squirrel Hill branch, where she and her team enjoy working with their new community. And I mean, who doesn't love Squirrel Hill? What a great community to get to work in. The branch employs a team of 10. Janette is an award-winning poet, that is so cool, writer and artist, and the founder of Social Justice Anthologies, I love that, which publishes books on topics which promote a more just and equitable world. Go, Janette.
Janette, Natalie, I think she'll have to be on your 5 minutes.
I was thinking that. I think all of these women are going to have to be on.
There's a lot of synergies going on here.
Love it.
Congratulations, Janette. Very, very happy to have you here tonight and your team. So who likes this woman?
Oh.
Who likes this woman? Have you noticed a lot of the quotes from the winners have to do about risk taking and courage and how winning, but I love this woman. And I think she's just a beautiful role model and I've seen her advertised. I actually have a book that I read during the pandemic because I got a little sick and tired of Netflix. And there was a little time in the spring where all I was doing was reading. And I read this book about long-lasting couples. And it was written by Marlo Thomas. And who's Marlo Thomas married to? I forgot. Oh, you guys are too young to know.
Phil Donahue.
Phil
Donahue,
Donahue.
thank you. Phil Donahue and Marlo Thomas wrote a book about couples that have been married for a really long time. And I haven't read every story in there, but two of my favorites, one are Jimmy and Rosalind Carter, and two is Viola Davis and her husband. It is a great story of how they met and how they've made their marriage last. And I admire just everything about this woman. So I'm happy to have her face up on my screen for a moment.
Great. Next is Jill Yesko, is a certified professional organizer. Who can't use that? And the owner of Discover Organizing, headquartered in Pittsburgh. You may have seen her and her team in 2020 on episode 2 of A&E's Hoarders, where she was a guest professional organizer. Can't even imagine what that was like. Jill. Jill will shortly be included as an author to her accomplishments with 2 industry books that are due to be published this spring of 2021. During the pandemic crisis of 2020, Jill led her tech team in transforming their photo operation manual into a monetized business kit for entrepreneurs. She began offering online virtual workshops and virtual organizing. 2 team members became certified in photo management, 1 in virtual organizing. Always innovating and leading the way, Jill's team moved several seniors from unsafe communities to comfortable living communities, many times working virtually with long-distance loved ones and family members to ensure a safe and seamless transition. How important is that? As having someone in personal care, it has been really tough for anyone who can't be with their loved ones. So Jill, thank you. Her favorite book is, not a surprise, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Congratulations, Jill.
Congratulations, Jill. You know, for sure, I think anybody would have understood if you took your surfboard and had gone to Hawaii last spring. Being a professional organizer, even though you have other ways that you can run your business, I mean, that was really something you, until last year, did in people's homes. And I remember seeing Jill really early in the spring teaching a workshop online. And I thought, oh my goodness, this woman, she didn't even take a beat to pivot. So that was really inspirational and impressive. Thank you so much, Jill. Always a big admirer of the great work that you do and the important work you do in the community, especially with our seniors. And now I'm going to talk about Kellie Goodman Shaffer. Kellie Goodman Shaffer is very much like Arlen Elizabeth Hess, who really inspired me early on. You know, the pandemic, the beginning of the pandemic was hard enough with us not knowing what was going to happen. And back then, can you remember, we didn't even know about masks yet. Every day was just tuning into the news to find out what was going to happen. And particularly, I remember as the businesses began to open, Kellie and Stephanie, who we'll be talking about later, were 2 women who were really key influencers in leading our region through phase yellow, right? Whoever thought about phase yellow before, like in the way that we think about it now? And one of the things that I saw Kellie do, she's a champion of the business community. She's from Bedford County, and she's the president and CEO of the Bedford County Chamber of Commerce, as well as the executive director of their educational foundation. And she began her career as a journalist on television, and she really uses her communication skills to help the chamber with information. And Kellie, you certainly did that last year. Kellie always had an excellent email newsletter. I had given her many compliments on it. But when the pandemic came out, it was like the 3 times a week, everything you need to know as a business person. And I especially remember during the times that we were stuck, there was one email that Kellie sent out and said, look, here's something you can do today. You can take 5 small business owners and give them a review on Google, or go give them a 5-star rating on Facebook, or you can sign up for their email newsletter, or you could do this, or you could do that. And it was just like when a lot of people didn't know what to do, your inbox was filled with things to do. And then particularly Kellie, really excellent work at pulling together all of the political things that were going on and the different candidates and what they were saying. And then especially leading us through the yellow phase. that was pretty amazing. If you subscribe to her newsletter, and some of you already do, you already know that she led the efforts at the chamber to provide this helpful and practical support to the community. But she also coordinated a cooperative effort. This was so cool, to construct a drive-in movie screen, creating a socially distant summer movie experience for her entire community. And then during the holiday season in 2020, she showcased the business community by spearheading a drive-through Christmas light display. And Kellie's favorite book is Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I feel like you could write a book like that, Kellie. You do so much great work in the world. Congratulations, my friend. Well done year.
Thank you, Beth. It's so kind. Thank you.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, are you sure she didn't co-write that book? Pretty amazing. Awesome. And now next up is another Kellie, Kellie Frosch. She is well known as a devoted mom and dedicated community member in Mount Lebanon, where she served as the commissioner from 2012 to 2020. A realtor for 6 years, Kellie specializes in helping people conduct real estate transactions during divorce. She also enjoys working with seniors who are downsizing and veterans that are relocating or retiring. Kellie had a pretty big year in 2020. A single mom, she saw a child through serious medical procedures, graduated 2 high school seniors, delivered them both to prestigious colleges in Colorado and Washington, D.C., finished up 8 years of public service, and purchased a home of her own. That is an awesome feeling. Since the year was full of big changes already, when Kellie learned of a new brokerage firm opening in Pittsburgh, she said, why not? And just like that, she switched companies. She decided to join forces with a broker that is completely virtual and brand new to the region. eXp Realty is the world's first ever 3D, fully immersive cloud brokerage, and one of the fastest growing real estate firms in North America. That's amazing. Always a multi-million producer, 2020 was her best sales year yet. That is incredible, exceeding $15 million. All of this accomplished, during that little thing known as a global pandemic. For a person that has a plan for her plans, enjoys predictability, and is hesitant to embrace the slightest of changes, Kellie has found a great sense of pride for herself and her family for their successes during a time that could have been paralyzing. A fan of Deepak Chopra, Gabrielle Bernstein, Kellie listens to Deepak regularly, and that helps to keep her grounded. Congratulations to you, Kellie. And I would say that, this idea of you being paralyzed is not even a thing. It sounds like you're super duper adaptable, and that's amazing. So congratulations.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Congrats, Kellie.
Congrats. Next, we have Kim Hammer. In spring of 2020, Kim Hammer was the vice president for advancement at Carlow University. As the pandemic crisis of 2020 became reality last spring, Kim immediately recognized that her team needed a way to stay in touch with alumni beyond just emails and phone calls. To extend these connections, she created Carlow Connections, a bi-monthly Zoom session for alumni, faculty, staff, and friends of Carlow University. These webinars range from fun topics such as cooking classes and wine tastings to expert faculty presentations. They were phenomenal. I really enjoyed many of them. Carlow Connections attracted thousands of attendees and showcased alumni who served as frontline emergency workers during the pandemic. In the summer of this year, Kim was invited to become the new vice president for advancement at Virginia Wesleyan University and moved her family to Virginia Beach. She is now making an impact there. Her favorite way to stay motivated is to listen to the Dare to Lead podcast from Brene Brown. Congratulations, Kim. It's been an honor working with you through Carlow, and I've really appreciated all the time.
Yes, Kim, we're so proud of you and so happy, and we can't wait to do a conference in Virginia Beach because I think we're all ready to go there.
we did the women's lead at Carlow last year.
A year ago, we were all together in that room. Yeah. Our next winner, I forwarded the slide a little too quickly, Kim. Sorry to do that. Big congratulations to you for your hard work and lots of ambition for taking all that on and a move and a promotion at the same time. Amazing. I love this picture. This is Kia Tomlin. And she is a fashion designer, and she has been, I watched a little video on her website, and Kia's mom was a school principal, I believe, and used to make Kia go to school with her on when there was no school. She just had to go to work with her mom. And so she would use, her mom would give her paper, and she would make dresses out of the paper. It was so cute. So she's literally been designing since she was a child, and she taught herself to sew at the age of 10. And then after about 2 decades of designing custom clothing, she took all of her experience as a busy and very active mom to designing clothes for a variety of body types for the ready-to-wear market. Okay, she has a really, really busy lifestyle. She's a mom of 3, and she made a dress that looks like it belongs on the runway, but it feels like a favorite sweatshirt. And her I've always admired her since she opened her store, since I first heard about her, because certainly Kia Tomlin could have opened a store in Shadyside or the Galleria, and she did it in Millvale, right down the street from me. And I always thought that was really cool. I love her collection. I love her signature dress, which is the anchor for her collections. And it's really for the modern day woman. All of her clothes are manufactured in the United States, primarily at a factory right here in Pittsburgh. Her stuff is sold on, her clothing is sold online at her retail store in Etna and select boutiques around the country. So certainly during the 2020 pandemic crisis, Kia and many of us could have shut up shop and been just fine and gone and done something else and had a vacation. But she kept her entire team employed, and she even hired new employees. And Kia made my list the day that I went to the mailbox, which back then was the most exciting thing that we had to do, right? And I got this awkward, unusual package from Highmark, my health insurance company. And you know, you get those bumpy packages, you're like, what is this? What could this be? And that's the first thing you open. And here it is, this beautiful, it's my favorite mask. It's a face mask that has the Kia Tomlin. I know some of you probably have it. It has her tag on it, but this was pretty early. And it was a mask that had a chin cover, and it wasn't like the regular paper masks. And it feels, you know, at this point now that we've gotten comfortable wearing masks, you feel like you're well protected. It has that extra layer, and it's well designed. There were a number of designs, and I was just like, you know what? You could have done anything, and this is what you did. This is awesome. So you are on my list, Kia Tomlin. Thank you for what you've done. Let's see here. I want to make sure the team sewed and donated over 20,000 of those face masks. So if you received one, it was a part of the Highmark Health's 1 million mask initiative. And it was, the mask itself was designed by Kia. You also need to check out her spring line. She usually goes with kind of muted colors and gray, but it was a tough year. So she's put red into her collection this year. You must check it out. I think it comes out officially next Monday. And like many people here tonight, Kia enjoys podcasts, and her favorite podcasts is How I Built This, also one of my favorites. So it's a good one. Check it out if you haven't. Congratulations, Kia. Job well done.
I also have one of her masks from Highmark, and I agree. It was like one of my favorites. Actually, it was one of the only ones I had for most of the spring, because I kept saying, well, I'm not going to invest in masks because this is going to be over in like just a couple of weeks. So thank you, Kia.
Yes. Yeah,
I know, it's very important that I had it.
I stole my dad's out of his box, I'll be honest.
See? Fair enough, Beth.
Well,
yeah, and her
yeah.
clothing line is gorgeous. It's sexy, but it's also just so wearable. So I love what she does. She's an amazing woman. We're so lucky to have her here in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
And we're so lucky to have so many of these amazing women in Pittsburgh, and including our next honoree, Kristen Ricupero. Did I do that correctly? I feel like I did. Okay. No one's saying anything, so I think
Just
that's
as I trained you, yes.
Okay. She is a financial coach, and profit advisor who specializes in helping small business owners, entrepreneurs, and driven professionals in both their business and personal finances. That is awesome. She works closely with individuals to simplify money, strengthen their financial management skills, eliminate debt, and create cash flow management systems. Kristen is fooled by her passion to help others succeed and become financially free. As soon as the pandemic hit, Kristen immediately began offering financial workshops virtually, and then launched a digital course and online group coaching program. During that time, she helped her students and clients pay off over
I get longer and longer.
$500,000 in personal debt. And she helped to increase their savings by over $154,000. That is honestly incredible at the best of times, but considering the situation that so many people were finding themselves in financially, to be able to do that for people during a pandemic is nothing short of heroic. Kristen is a busy mom of 2 young children. To stay motivated, she physically exercises every day and does daily affirmations and visualization exercises. I love that. Congratulations so much, Kristen.
Congratulations, Kristen. I also noticed in her quote, cute, that it's like about counting and she's a money person.
I wonder if she even meant that, or if that was just so unconscious at this point. That's awesome.
Congratulations, Kristen.
Congratulations, Kristen. We're going to stay in the financial world. As a founder of Park Avenue Wealth Management, Lisa Kroll has 18 years of experience guiding clients towards the goal of financial independence. As a certified financial planner, Lisa is held to a higher level of care and committed to providing personal service to you, especially those who are planning for retirement. During the pandemic crisis, Lisa remained dedicated and became ultra focused on keeping her clients in the community updated, informed, and confident. In October of 2020, Lisa launched a new series, Permission to Prosper, a virtual financial information series, which has become widely popular on LinkedIn. Despite the challenges of the year, we know we had lots of those, Lisa doubled new assets in 2020. This year, she will celebrate her 5th year anniversary as an independent business owner. Well done, Lisa. Congratulations.
Very, very happy to see all of that, especially seeing you teaching. Congratulations, Lisa.
It's wonderful.
Yay. All right, I'm looking forward to telling the next story. There we go. Had to triple click it. I'm really excited to talk about this story. Maria Gartrell, who is on the left, is a busy real estate agent and mom of 3 active boys who lives and works in Erie, Pennsylvania. And Maria is fabulous at home design ideas. She became a multi-million-dollar real estate producer by setting herself apart from other agents and using her interior design skills. The homes that she staged sold fast and her clients were impressed. And soon her real estate clients began to ask for her advice on how to furnish their new homes. Maria began to do design work and consulting in addition to real estate. And she's also very passionate about promoting the work of local artists and craftsmen. And so a lot of times when she staged her homes, she would put local artists' work in them, and that made her even more wildly popular. So a lot of times she would offer things from artists to local craftsmen, but she didn't have a place to house them. And people really wanted to see these things in person. And this began her dream of a retail furniture store, which is a kind of ambitious thing to do in the day of most people buying online, right? So that was pretty ambitious, but they did some market research and they confirmed that there was actually demand for a new local furniture and accessory store. So she created a business plan, she got some investors, and enter her beautiful sister, Ann Camp, who is a business and marketing manager and a trained graphic designer who does amazing graphic work. Be sure to follow their Facebook page, Vintage and Soul Home. And so what we had here was a combination of Maria's taste and clients and style and Ann's business savvy, and this business began to take off. So the store opening was really being anticipated. It was called Vintage and Soul Home. It's a 3,000 square foot woman-owned store, and it was supposed to open in the spring of 2020. So frustrating delays, of course, from the pandemic and the lockdown really kept stalled that opening. And then sadly, Maria and Ann lost their dad. He lost his battle to cancer in the fall. Really a difficult time to be in the midst of launching a new business, either a pandemic or losing your dad. But still, after many unplanned delays, and still while they were grieving, Maria and Ann and their family and the entire community celebrated the grand opening of Vintage and Soul Home in November of 2020, just in time for the holiday shopping season. They have been doing fantastic. Their store offers interior design services, as well as very unique furniture and accessories. It is definitely worth the drive to Pittsburgh. It's located at Erie Plaza Drive in Erie, and the designers of the store do come to Pittsburgh for consultations. So I highly recommend a trip up to Erie to check this out, and definitely check out their Facebook page. Follow their Facebook page. They have some of the best pictures on there and some great design tips. Maria and Anne, congratulations. Well done. And I just hope that this coming year is your best ever year so far. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right. Next up is Mary Lee Gannon. And I'm a little biased with Mary Lee because I met her a long time ago and I just absolutely fell in love with her. She's such a wonderful, wonderful woman and such an inspiration to me. And so I was so excited to see her on this list, although of course, in no way was I surprised to see her on this list. She is the president of St. Margaret Foundation, where she created the mantra of filling in the gaps with hope at UPMC St. Margaret Hospital. Early in the pandemic, Mary Lee and her team could see the toll that COVID was taking on hospital staff and sought ways to bring them relief. Hospital staff has the same fears as everyone else, but they have to show up every day ready to serve, knowing that doing so could make them among the most vulnerable. She immediately launched several new programs and raised all the money needed to pay for important needs, including discounted hotel rooms for staff who were afraid to go home, boxed lunches for those staff who had children home from school, numerous care packages. For patients, the foundation purchased 7 iPads for them to be able to communicate with family while they were in quarantine. They stocked food pantry items for staff who couldn't get to the store. Emergency childcare assistance was made available for staff who needed to be at work while schools and daycare facilities were closed. When visitors were not permitted to see patients on Mother's Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, Mary Lee's team delivered thoughtful gifts, flowers, and candles to those left alone in the hospital. This sounds exactly like Mary Lee. She is such a giving and wonderful person. Each employee received $50 in grocery store gift cards to help them as well during the crisis, and every effort was fully funded by donations. An avid reader, Mary Lee devours business and personal development books, and her favorite authors are Pema Chodron and Dr. Henry Cloud. Mary Lee, I'm so proud of you and in no way surprised. You are amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you, Natalie, and thank you, Beth. Appreciate that.
Thank you. And talk about rolling up your sleeves and getting something done.
Right.
And I mean, just think about that though. Every single employee, $50 in grocery store gift cards on top of 7 iPads, on top of everything else. It's so touching and so amazing. And everybody on Mary Lee's entire team was working from home. It was really something to watch. And I'll tell you, it was hard to be depressed watching. You know what I thought? I just want to pause here for a second. I don't know if the rest of you noticed this, and you might have read it in the announcement of this event, but I really pay attention to people. And what I saw happening last spring was about a big chunk of our community, a big chunk of the population just pretty much shut down. And you know, we laugh about it, but they watched Netflix and they just did nothing. They worried. They watched the news and they worried. That was a big, large part of our population. And then we had another very big, large part of our population that did a lot of complaining. And I can remember being so sad to seeing people spending their time complaining and just doing some of the things that they were doing. I don't know about you, but I have really pared down on my social media connections. It really, really helped to just clean that up a little bit, but it could be really draining and really negative. So really big part of our population was either sad and anxious, upset, or complaining and angry. But I also saw a tremendous amount of people like Mary Lee and all of the women here tonight that were doing what they could do. And I found that to be really inspiring, and it really created hope. And so thank you, Mary Lee, and thank you, everybody. But that was, Mary Lee did that pretty early on. I mean, we were also thinking about us, our own selves and our own families and our own fears. And then to think about somebody being stuck in the hospital on Mother's Day. It seems normal to us that our family, our loved ones can be in the hospital or getting a cancer treatment and we can't be with them. But last year, that was so devastating. We've really become acclimated to and come used to it. But that was just a really brilliant and clever thing to do and a really great way to show that you care.
Those are tough. On to another Mary. Mary Kitchen is a CPA with a Master's of Science in Taxation. As an advanced certified QBO, QuickBooks Online, pro advisor, Mary works with fast-growing entrepreneurs who need a strategic accounting partner. During the early part of the pandemic crisis, Mary immediately came to the aid of her clients when many of them, being non-essential workers, had to shut down their businesses. She became a clearinghouse of information by offering online presentations and email updates, not only to her clients, but to the entire community. When the Paycheck Protection Program was announced, hundreds of small business owners relied on Mary's expertise. There was so much confusion around that. And she worked tirelessly to help the businesses and nonprofit communities understand the PPP process, complete their applications, and use the money appropriately. Mary loves to read. Two of her favorite inspirational books are The Year of Yes by Sandra Rhimes and Women Lead by our very own Beth Rodwell.
Thank you. Mary, you were something to watch too last year. I mean, talk about rolling up your sleeves and getting down to it. She was like a motor machine. We had those PPP emails coming out to us all the time. And I mean, really, there's nothing like, you know, a busy mom to really get through stuff. I mean, that was just crazy. So what we were trying to understand with that PPP, we hosted Mary for a workshop on understanding PPP. It was one of my most highly attended workshops. It was incredible.
It was one of the first ones too.
Yeah.
After the pandemic started.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
I couldn't have done it without all the inspiration in this group.
Well, it's funny, Beth, you're getting all the financial people. Isn't that interesting?
I know. I was going to say that, but
that wasn't even figured out to, but that's how it worked out.
But I can feel it. I can feel like their need
you get their stuff.
And their story, yes.
Well, I'm really pleased tonight to introduce you to Melanie Marie Boyer. Melanie is a devoted mom to two handsome young men, ages 8 and 3. She is a Colombian and United States citizen, and she is the director of the Pittsburgh Metropolitan Area Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We met at a networking event a little, I don't know, like 2 years ago. And it was just kind of one of those things. We were in instant synergy and we kept in touch. Actually, Melanie, you and I were supposed to have lunch. I think we were going to have lunch like on St. Patrick's Day, and we were texting each other saying, you know, maybe this isn't a good, now it'll be fine. No, maybe it isn't a good idea. And then we decided not to do it. We haven't rescheduled yet. So, you know, besides being a mom and having her own business, she also runs the Hispanic Chamber. And when the pandemic first hit, she immediately implemented a plan to ensure long-term effectiveness for that chamber. She was one of the first to create a digital speaker series and host online events, offering topics from using Google to reach your customers and the Paycheck Protection Program, how to apply for jobs online. And she did a lot of inspirational success stories from leaders in the Hispanic community, like I did, Melanie. It was an interesting quandary to be in because we were stuck at home, but because we were stuck at home, we were able to get speakers from far away that we normally never would have been able to get. So that allowed us to bring some great things to our audience. Melanie is absolutely an example of how strong and resilient women are during a crisis. Alongside of keeping the chamber active, she survived COVID herself. She also became a single mother during this time, and she picked up her freelance business, I'm sure in order to make ends meet, and saved that from a near total loss. And she gives us a very interesting way to stay motivated. Her favorite way right now to stay motivated is a show on Clubhouse. Natalie, are you on Clubhouse?
I am, and I was just taking notes because I'm like, I'm definitely gonna have to pay attention now to this one.
Of course you're on Clubhouse. I have Clubhouse on my phone, but I only have been on there one time. No, I can't handle another one. But I will check this out. It's called the Positivity Room on Clubhouse. And another thing we have in common, we're both night owls. The Positivity Room is Sunday evenings from 10 p.m. to midnight. Well done, Melanie. You have put a tough year behind you. Let us see what is possible in this coming year. And we are all cheering for you.
Thank you so much.
Right, congratulations. And next up, since the beginning of her real estate career, Michelle Boucher has always been a multi-million-dollar producer. A consistent award winner for sales production, she has been honored with Pittsburgh Magazine's Face of Women in Real Estate Award and by Real Producer Magazine. With the state in lockdown for 10 weeks, allowing for no real estate transactions in Western Pennsylvania, this could have been a terrible blow to an otherwise successful business. Of course, Michelle, instead, she turned her attention to what she could do, and she took advantage of her ability to work globally as a part of the Pie at Sotheby's team. These efforts boosted her real estate numbers by more than $4 million for the year. That's not too shabby. President of a nonprofit board, Michelle led the directors in making concrete plans to keep the organizations going and to develop some systems for more efficient operations and an even stronger financial position than in pre-COVID. That is what we call fabulous leadership, Michelle. Congratulations.
Not to mention a kick-ass, beautiful new picture that I love.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you. That's from our Real Producer shoot for my team that'll be coming out in the April issue. Thank you.
Can't wait to see it. It looks great.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Next is Nicole Lerda, very, very good friend of mine I've known for so long. So I'm very excited that I get to talk about Nicole. She's the owner of Max Cole, a Vita exclusive salon and spa, and a new business venture that she began in January of 2020 and took on in the midst of the pandemic. The salon and spa is located in Robinson Township. Between March and December of 2020, Nicole successfully and creatively secured a business purchase of the salon and spa when such services were being shut down and considered non-essential. She hosted an outdoor, socially distanced ribbon cutting and grand opening. Nicole was featured as Women's Success Story by the Duquesne University Small Business Development Center, was named one of Airport Corridor's most influential women by the Airport Chamber of Commerce, featured in Allegheny West magazine, and most importantly, revitalized the struggling salon and spa. Despite the limitations of providing salon and spa service during a pandemic, Nicole led the business and significantly increased revenue in her first few months of business ownership. In doing so, she saved the careers of all 10 female employees. To stay motivated, informed, and productive, Nicole enjoys reading the Harvard Business Review. Looking forward to next year in business with Nicole. Congratulations, Nicole.
Congratulations, Nicole.
You will do wonderful things.
I have to say something about Nicole. Well, first of all, I have to ask you, Natalie, what do you think of Aveda? Have you experienced it?
Yes, the salon is amazing. And I was going to say, just in general, I'm sorry, but with the roots needing touched up, I feel like that was an essential service that was overlooked during the pandemic. If you guys saw what was happening over here, this was not a good situation. So I hope next time this happens, they recognize the importance of our salons. Are you kidding me?
Well, yeah, we still had to do virtual meetings, right? We still had
Exactly.
to do
Virtual meetings, yes.
Oh, yes, amazing.
The hat only went so far.
Thank you. Exactly. I wish those masks could have been worn over there instead, but what are you going to do?
Well, I was personally so inspired by Nicole's courage, because here she is in January, right? And she's like, I'm going to do my dream and buy the spa. This is amazing. And then before the loan is finalized, everything is shut down. This has never happened before in our history. And how's the bank going to do a loan on a business that's closed? And certainly, I am sure there was an out in that there's some kind of a clause that says that there's a pandemic, you don't have to go through it if the business is shut down, but she kept with it. It is her dream. And if you've been to the salon, if you've been to the spa, I mean, Nicole is doing what she was meant to do. That place is just amazing, absolutely amazing and beautiful, and definitely a place we all want to get together and have cocktails out as soon as we can as a group,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Congrats, Nicole.
Congrats, Nicole.
Congratulations.
Well, I'm really pleased to talk to you about Patty Maxwell. Patty is a behavioral therapist for children, and she is the owner of a company called Engaged Kids, which is in Murraysville, Pennsylvania. And Patty spends her days mainly in preschool classrooms, daycares and preschool classrooms, and sometimes she goes to people's homes, and she helps with those kiddos that have little difficulty. Maybe they're biters, they have behavioral issues, or they have whatever kind of challenge. And so just imagine your whole life is in a classroom, your whole business, everything that you've built up is going to different classrooms, and not one classroom closed or one school shut down, every school shut down and business is done. That's it. 2020 brought a huge challenge to us, all of us, schools and families alike. But families of children with disabilities found themselves navigating a big dilemma of education at home. And so there was an availability and a place for Patty's talents and a need for her. These parents always feel alone. And now they're even more alone and they're isolated. So they have isolation, they have fear, and they have all the other usual dilemmas that they have when dealing with problems in the classroom. So Patty started offering virtual appointments, and she worked with students, teachers, and parents. Do you know, like a year ago, a lot of people didn't know what Zoom was? I mean, I can remember saying to somebody like ZOOM, right? Parents, teachers, students, everybody, she's got them on there. She's teaching people how to read preschoolers' books over the Zoom, right? And she just learned that you can read a book via video chat almost as easily as you can do it in person. And you know what? Eventually, we all got accustomed to these new routines and education was able to continue. Now, because she was working virtually, Patty wasn't driving from school to daycare to preschool to school, and she found herself with a lot more time that she usually spent traveling so she could see more families and children. In May, she created an amazing teacher appreciation initiative. Boy, teachers, we don't have any teachers here tonight. They're not in my, realm of who I hang with, but, talk about figuring out something new. And so she did great teacher appreciation events. And she participated, she started doing speaking. Congratulations, Patty, because that was a stretch for you. And she started teaching workshops, and she actually was one of the participants in Gloria Summit, and found out that she's pretty darn good at speaking, and she's been doing a lot of speaking and training. So besides impacting thousands of classrooms, training hundreds of educators and service providers, she's empowered parents around the globe. She did her first podcast interview, and guess what else? She more than doubled her sales when all the schools were closed. Well done, Patty. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Amazing. And next up is Sandy Campbell. After working for 10 years for a major pharmaceutical company, Sandy decided to stop working in the corporate world and start improving it instead. As a positive psychology coach, Sandy's passion is help clients achieve their full potential by helping them make small but highly impactful shifts in the way that they eat, think, and move. She holds an MS in counseling from Villanova University, as well as degrees and certifications in integrative nutrition, yoga, and applied positive psychology. That is awesome. During the pandemic of 2020, Sandy and her family found themselves stranded in Florida, where they had been visiting family. She figured out a way to homeschool her kids and continue working despite not being at home. Her blog, which was started before COVID, became very popular as she delved into much needed topics like setting up a home office, crazy in Costco, food and lifestyle shifts, resilience, and leading from your center. She learned how to accept online registrations and continued to offer popular program Rise and Thrive, filling 2 new classes of participants. One of her favorite ways to stay motivated is the popular TED Talk, The Happy Secret to Better Work by Sean Anker. Congratulations. That is amazing. And I'm really seeing a theme here of like resilience, resiliency with all these incredible women. So it's just so inspiring.
I know Sandy didn't think that she was really doing anything. She's stuck in Florida. Who's stuck in Florida? She was with family. I mean, it could have been worse, but still, it was a way to have to reinvent herself. And her blog, you guys have to check out sandycampbell.net. Her blog is excellent. It comes out by email newsletter. You can read it on her website. It's really, really good. And I have to say, Sandy, when I was getting ready for tonight, I had read all of these things before, but I was rereading everything to get ready for tonight. And she said a lot of different ways she shared on how she stays motivated, and TED Talks are one of them. And I thought, you are a TED Talk. Why are you not a TED Talk? So just get ready, Sandy. I have that on your to-do list. There's just so much good that you've done this year, and we so appreciate you.
Thank you, Beth.
Oh, here's a nice little pause quote. Isn't this beautiful? You know, how many of you high achievers had to kind of have been embarrassed when you were younger or at different times because you're so different? And Gloria Stefan, one of my favorite people, says, don't give up who you are just because you're different. Isn't it the different people that are the ones that are usually the ones who stand out the most? And so I like to remind you, don't try to keep fitting in if you are meant to stand out. One of my she rose messages.
Oh, my turn. Sorry. Shannon Slack is a wife, mother, entrepreneur, and fashion enthusiast. In the summer of 2020, she honed her passion and founded Luna Cellini. Hopefully I'm saying that right, a footwear company that is handcrafted designs invoking the everyday elegance and timelessness of femininity. I've seen it on Facebook. They look awesome. Let me tell you. Prior to 2020, Luna Cellini
It's
was
Luna Celine, like Luna, Moon, and I think
no
Celine.
E, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's okay.
My bad. And Luna Celine was a mere dream for Shannon. During the time when most of the world was in lockdown, she met with a designer to create a perfect shoe for busy, fashionable women. Shannon worked throughout the summer, learning all she needed to know about design and manufacturing. Soon, work began on the website, and the online store was launched in October 26, 2020. Since then, Shannon has collaborated with local artists and entrepreneurs to bring fashion awareness to the city of Pittsburgh. Now there are 7 styles of Luna Celine being sold online, as well as 2 shoe stores in Pittsburgh, Little's in Squirrel Hill and Eva Bryan Boutique in Zelienople. Shannon believes women can do unstoppable things when they look and feel their best. So true. Well done, Shannon.
Well done. We have been celebrating you. This is just amazing. A year ago, this wasn't even an idea yet. Isn't it amazing what can happen and how fast it can happen? So impressed with you, Shannon. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. I wish I had put your shoe there. You guys have to check out the shoes. If you were here early, you saw this the slideshow, and there's pictures of the shoe. It's adorable, adorable. So make sure you check it out. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, all right, I'm going to talk to you about Stephanie Pashman. You might know her, recognize her face or her name. She's the CEO of the Allegheny Conference on Community Development, as well as the Greater Pittsburgh Chamber of Commerce and the Pennsylvania Economy League of Greater Pittsburgh and the Pittsburgh Regional Alliance, all affiliated companies. During the COVID-19 pandemic crisis, Stephanie really distinguished herself in the region. She diligently led our 10-county regional response to the pandemic through tirelessly advocacy and education, communication. She was phenomenal at communication and very actively engaged with a diverse mix of both public and private sector partners. She told me that her team, all working from home, all working virtually, were constantly asking themselves, how do we reopen? How do we stay open? How do we help companies in this region every step of the way? And if you were paying attention, they really did some amazing things. I would need 10 pieces of paper to begin to tell you all the things that she did. I think it was all important, but one of the most meaningful to me was really as I watched Stephanie guide our region through yellow. I mean, as women, were we not just like, what are we doing, right? And it was just like, she just started, here's what we're doing. The newsletter came out sometimes every day, and it was filled with practical and relevant information for businesses in the region. It wasn't just expert and confident guidance for the pandemic, but also expert guidance through some pretty significant racial tensions that we were facing as businesses. And on top of that, a really difficult election. And so she hosted during the pandemic, the region's first ever Move Forward Summit. And you want to check out the website Next is Now, which is a comprehensive listing of information of all of the assets of why you should come to Pittsburgh or come to this region and do business. It is just, and she also did I think it was Mask Up. Just, there was so much where they had local celebrities talk about wearing the mask. Back when we were trying to talk people into putting their masks on, right? They came up with a celebrity effort. It had some Steelers on it. I remember it had Sally Wiggin on it. It was just a phenomenal, very expertly done video. So just doing so much. And her new product, Next is Now, is really designed to take our region today, tomorrow, beyond into successful. The conference released this. It was proud to protect Pittsburgh. You have to look that up. Proud to protect Pittsburgh. It was so impressive. And it provided important resources for surviving COVID-19. And that was where all the celebrities and leaders had messages to keep the spirits in our region high and to remind everyone of the important pride of Pittsburgh. Stephanie, her husband, I believe she lives in Squirrel Hill. They have 3 teens and stay motivated. To stay motivated, she makes sure that every day she gets outside and she does her yoga. So thank you, Stephanie, for the important work that you do in the region. You were also at the top of my list to get this recognition. Well done.
Congratulations.
All right. There's a lot of women doing yoga around here, and I appreciate that because I love doing yoga, so I feel like I'm in good company. Maybe if I just do yoga with you guys, all of that awesomeness is just gonna like rub off on me, I think. So that's good. And speaking of awesome, congratulations to Tracy McKinney. She is an Emmy award-winning news producer, writer, and reporter. She works as the assistant news director at WPXI TV in Pittsburgh. She has been in Pittsburgh for just over a year, but she has already been making her mark and some major key achievements. As leader of the station's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Initiative, she created a diversity board at the news station to more adequately represent minorities in media coverage, which is much needed and much appreciated. Tracy also launched a political franchise called Coffee and Conversations. The franchise provides a platform to women and minorities, along with other groups, to voice their concerns about politics. It was especially important during the hotly contested presidential race. The franchise travels from county to county, giving the average Joe or Joan an opportunity to be heard on the issues that matter the most to them. 2020 brought challenges to all of us. As a news director, Tracy skillfully and competently ensured that WPXI news teams reported not only critical information about the coronavirus, but also during dangerous racial incidents and a very tense election season. That is a ton of good work that you did this year, Tracy McKinney. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Tracy.
What a welcome to Pittsburgh year 2.
Yeah.
All of that in 1 year. Oh my goodness.
Yes,
Impressive.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
So happy to have you here,
Amazing.
and thank you for your great work.
On to another Tracy. Tracy Serto is the founder and former publisher of Next Pittsburgh. She founded the media site in 2014 with its mission to highlight the people advancing in the city. Next Pittsburgh is the online source of Pittsburgh news about movers and shakers moving the region forward and innovating things that are happening around Pittsburgh. Before the pandemic, we all relied on Next Pittsburgh email update for advice on where to eat and what to do next. I don't know why I'm having a problem with Next Pittsburgh, but I apologize. When the region was faced with shelter-in-place orders, what sense did it make to recommend restaurants, concerts, and theaters? We weren't going anywhere. Tracy and her team of reporters began to publish stories that kept readers informed, motivated, and inspired. They produced ongoing guides on how to help and where to get help. They let readers know which restaurants were offering takeout and updated everyone on virtual events, job openings, happenings, and fundraisers. The lists. Who read those lists? Tracy led the online publication to record growth in 2020 with 2.1 million unique visitors and over 11 million page views. At the end of the year, she sold the publication to local entrepreneur and activist John Rhodes. It's a heck of a year, Tracy. Congratulations. Well done.
Yeah, very, very impressive. Very pleased. Some of those lists were so helpful, and a lot of job help in the next Pittsburgh. It's more than just about where to eat and what to do and great kids activities. They have all of that, but also pretty hefty job search list for people that want to come to the region or looking for work. So you and your team did a phenomenal job. So impressed with you, Tracy, as always. So well done.
Well deserved.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. It was a team effort, believe me.
Great to see
job.
you.
Good job. So that is it for our winter introductions. How are you guys feeling?
Motivated.
Like almost like, boy, that was getting long, but then like, oh no, it's over because that was so inspirational.
It's impressive, the wonderful women we have right here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is one of my favorite quotes. I put this up on social media every year on International Women's Day. I love this. I want to let you all know that you have this program came to you in your link today. It was in a second link. It was like 5 o'clock. So you can click on this. And also I will put this up online so you can watch it over and over again. You can see the winners' names again, as well as see the ads. I'll let this play a little bit at the end. I want to talk to you about something that I'm doing new this year, and that is called the Artemis Project. So I'm not going to keep you very long. I promise you'll be done long before 8. But when I moved back home to Pittsburgh many years ago, it was, let's see, what year was it? 1993. And I had a newborn baby and a 2-year-old in car seats. And I was fleeing an abusive situation. And who would ever think this empowered, smart, savvy woman would get herself into a situation living in the deep South with an abusive husband and 2 babies and no job and no place to live. And I hadn't thought about this for a long time, but I was driving to Pittsburgh after leaving my husband with these 2 babies. And gosh, that was a disappointing time, y'all. Nobody really plans to get a divorce, you know, to get married, have your babies, have your dream house, have all the boxes checked off. I was like 27 years old. And then it wasn't what you hoped it would be. And I was disappointed. And I really was even, I think, embarrassed and of course afraid. And I can remember driving in that little Ford, these 2 car seats and everything I own. Smartest decision I ever made, by the way. Okay. And I remember just having this vision or this thought or this imagination that at some point when I came to Pittsburgh, that I would be empowering people. And I do empower people. And I think being so young at the time, I thought that was going to happen right away. And I did go into the social work field for a little while. But when I was driving in that little Ford, I had this vision or thought or idea or dream of empowering people financially, not just the way I do it now. The way I've been empowering all of you for years is education, inspiration, motivation, you know, bringing the workshops to the city so you don't have to go to New York City or Las Vegas or Los Angeles to take a workshop. And this is something that COVID did for me because I was supposed to be on my book tour. I was supposed to be in 10, 11 cities. I was supposed to be gone. And what I wound up doing was having some time to work on my business and having some time to do things. And in June, as things do, somebody told somebody to tell somebody to call me. And I encountered this single mom divorced mom, 3 kids, high school kids, she works in healthcare. We all had our challenges, but people who work at hospitals, they weren't working from home and their kids are at home. And so she had 3 school-aged children, one in a wheelchair who was at home, and these 2 boys that were just eating everything, and she couldn't do it. She just couldn't make the rent and pay for the groceries. And Paul and I bought her some groceries, and that made me feel really good because, I hadn't put gas in my car for 2.5 months. I hadn't gone out to dinner. So we had the extra money. We bought her groceries. And then a month or 2 later, somebody told somebody to tell somebody to ask me for help. And there was another mom that we gave some help to, and she also worked. But she now had 3 kids in daycare instead of 1 kid in daycare. So her daycare bill was now in the thousands of dollars a month instead of the hundreds. And so we put together a care package and we sent that to her. And this continued on a little bit at a time. And then I had a meeting with my financial advisor. And, what are you doing with your retirement account? Well, nothing, nothing, because I'm doing this kind of charity work. And so I had to talk with my financial advisor and decided that, this was really the time to begin to give money in a more thoughtful way and a more intentional way. And that is the Artemis Project. And that's what all of your money tonight is going towards. So we are raising money to put together a seed fund. It will be not a nonprofit. It's not a foundation. It's nothing like that. It's an account that we will use for people who need help during the pandemic. And as I was putting this together over the past few weeks, in January, I was thinking, what charity do I want to give money to? And I called a couple charities and I just thought, no, I don't think that's going to be the charity. And then I realized it's time to be that woman that I saw in the car all those years ago. And so I really feel like the Artemis Project will be my retirement. I don't plan on leaving Pittsburgh Professional Women or my coaching business for a long time. But when I do, I would love to be sitting at a table giving out money all day to people. So I want to thank you very much for being here to celebrate everybody, but also to let you know that the money that we raised tonight from these amazing program ads and from your tickets, that's all going to the Artemis Fund. And I promise you, it will be helping people who've been affected financially by the pandemic. We can all do our parts. So that's what we're doing. If you want to know more about it, I did put it on the website today. So it's on pittsburghprofessionalwomen.com, and there's a page that says Artemis Project. Also check out our upcoming events. We have some phenomenal things coming up. It's been a pleasure to spend the evening with you. Natalie, do you have some ideas as we part?
Oh, I just wanted to say how incredibly honored I am to just even get to be in this group of incredible women and get to read your stories. All of you really have gone above and beyond during this time to show what can happen when we think we, not me. So thank you so much for all of your contributions to making this region a place where all of us have an opportunity, not just to survive something like this, but to actually thrive during that experience. So I am just totally in awe of all of you, and I am so inspired, and I can't wait to use your energy to help propel the work that I'm doing to the next level. So thank you for being such a wonderful foundation for me. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, tell us before we go, what do you have coming up next?
Oh, I'm working on some new media projects. I just sort of finalized funding for a project called Heating Up. So it's going to be a plant-based cooking show mixed with climate change activism conversations. The Heinz Endowments and 412 Food Rescue is in support of it. So it's going to be really exciting. And if you get a chance to check out 5 Minutes With, my tagline for the work that I do is inspire, educate, and activate people to create equity in their communities. And so I interview incredible people around the city and also now around the country. And I've even interviewed some people from different parts of the world, because that's the beauty of Zoom. You can check that out on my Instagram page, Natalie Bensi, and it airs every Friday night on Alone Together Pittsburgh, which is a local variety show here in the city. So I got a lot of things cooking, and it's very exciting. So there's just a few things coming up, and Vegged, which is another plant-based cooking show for Pittsburgh Earth Day. I'm going to be hosting that, but that's more focused on chefs in our community. So apparently I'm just very hungry during quarantine, and it's been very fun. And so yeah, whatever you guys can check out, there's some great stuff happening in our community. So I'm happy to be a part of my little corner of it. So it's awesome.
So we're connected on LinkedIn, and that's where I see all of your great stuff, but Instagram as well. What is it, Natalie?
Natalie Bency. I can just type it right
Yeah,
in
type it in
here.
there.
Yeah, and I'll put my email in here as well if any of you amazing women want to connect, because normally we'd be handing out our,
Business cards,
business
yes,
cards at this
absolutely.
point, but now it's emails on a Zoom chat. So there you go. And I'd love to
Great.
chat with any and all of you. And I'm probably going to bother a few of you or all of you to be on my show 5 Minutes With at some point
Yeah.
too. So
Well,
now you're on my radar.
I do love the 5 Minutes With. I love to watch it and listen to it. It's one of those things that you can do when you're, it's 5 minutes, the end of the day, the beginning of your day. You've had some fantastic guests. We run in different circles, but we're so similar. And I've gotten to meet or find out about some amazing people from your 5 Minutes With. But I have to tell you, my favorite thing is your advice column.
Oh, thank you. Really appreciate that.
And I like the quick tips and advice too. So what's the craziest advice question you've been asked?
Oh, I get so many, but a lot of them, the complexity of the issues that people ask me, I think is what keeps me motivated, because there's so many times where you could spend hours just going over this with people. But I think the craziest has to be when I was engaging with someone and they wanted to know if they should be in a throuple, which is a 3-person relationship. Not just like a romantic, like a real 3-person relationship. And I was like, interesting. So that was a good one. And you can check that one out on Ask Natalie if you just look up Ask Natalie throuple.
I'll be doing that tonight for sure.
Have a glass of
You
wine
have to
first
do
and
that.
then
You
read
go to
it.
Google to get advice on that. That's kind of interesting. Yeah.
But I try to keep them PG for the most part.
That's it. Well, I put a link to, in the program, I put a link to Ask Natalie, so you guys can check that out. So I'm going to put the program on now. Liz, you can quit our recording. I see that our little recording button's going.